Good evening, and welcome to Sleep Sanctuary, where calmness and imagination meet to guide you into a restful sleep.
Tonight, as you settle into the comfort of your bed, allow yourself to drift away from the weight of the day. Close your eyes, if you wish, and take a deep, calming breath. Imagine a vast sky stretching above you, painted in the softest hues of blue and lavender. Let the world around you grow quiet, and feel the tension slowly melt away. Tonight, we embark on a journey into a realm where the clouds dance and a gentle shepherd guides their path. High above the world, where the air is crisp and still, there exists a shepherd unlike any other. His flock is not of woolly sheep grazing on green hills, but of clouds, soft, billowing, and glowing faintly in the light of the setting sun. With a tender touch, he nudges them across the sky, each cloud carrying a special gift for the earth below: life-giving rain, cool shade on a warm day, or even a glimmering rainbow to bring joy to those who look up. But who is this shepherd of the clouds? What compels him to guide them with such care, day after day? Tonight, we'll uncover his story, a tale woven into the very fabric of the sky, a story that speaks of harmony, kindness, and the quiet magic that surrounds us all. I first saw him on a tranquil evening, much like this one. The sky was a canvas of pastel colors, the sun dipping low on the horizon. As I gazed upward, a figure appeared, silhouetted against the soft glow of twilight. He moved with a calm, deliberate grace, as if every step carried purpose. Around him, clouds gathered, following his gentle guidance like loyal companions. Curiosity stirred within me. Who was this quiet guardian of the sky? And why did it feel as though his work, so far above the world, was meant for all of us below? As I watched, the shepherd reached out, his hand brushing against a fluffy white cloud. It drifted onward, and with it, I felt a sense of peace settle over me, a calm I couldn't quite explain. And so, the story of the cloud shepherd began.
Tonight, let's pause for a moment to breathe, to release, and to sink into stillness. Gently close your eyes, if you haven't already, and take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it softly for a moment. Now, let it go, feeling the weight of your day dissolve with the exhale. Imagine yourself lying on a soft, billowy cloud. It cradles you like a warm embrace, lifting you high into the sky. The air around you is cool and fresh, and the faint scent of rain lingers, soothing and clean. You feel light, as though you're floating effortlessly, carried by the soft breeze. Take another breath in, slow and deep, and as you exhale, picture the pastel hues of the evening sky blending around you, gentle shades of pink, gold, and lavender. The sky stretches endlessly, a vast and peaceful canvas, inviting you to leave your worries far below. Let your body relax further with each breath. Your shoulders soften, your hands grow still, and even your thoughts begin to slow, like clouds drifting lazily across the heavens. Feel the lightness of the moment, the calm of simply being. Above you, the stars begin to shimmer faintly, tiny pinpricks of light that seem to hum a soft, soothing melody. Their glow wraps you in a sense of safety, of peace. Now, imagine the gentle cloud shepherd guiding those stars into place, weaving calm into the night as he tends to the sky. His quiet presence reminds you that even the simplest moments, like this one, are filled with care and purpose. Rest here, in this stillness. Breathe. Let yourself be carried by the calm of the clouds. And when you're ready, we'll return to the story. Before we begin, if you enjoy calming bedtime stories, consider liking this video and subscribing for more relaxing content. Now, let's get back to our story. The first light of dawn was just beginning to paint the sky, but the shepherd was already at work. From my quiet perch, I watched him move with an ease and grace that seemed almost otherworldly. He stood tall, his silhouette outlined by the soft hues of sunrise, a figure of calm, radiating quiet purpose. Around him, the clouds hovered, responding to his every gesture as if they understood his silent commands. I marveled at how he worked. With one outstretched hand, he nudged a fluffy, white cloud forward, sending it gliding across the horizon. It moved effortlessly, as though it trusted him completely. Another hand swept gently to the side, guiding a darker, denser cloud to where it was needed most. Each cloud, I began to realize, was different, not just in size or shape, but in the purpose it carried. As I observed, the shepherd turned his gaze to the ground below, studying the world with careful attention. His eyes, though distant, seemed to sense the needs of those far below. A parched field stretched out beneath one section of the sky, its golden crops wilting under the relentless sun. The shepherd paused, his hand resting on a heavy grey cloud. With a gentle push, he sent it floating downward. I watched as it positioned itself over the field, releasing a soft, steady rain. The earth drank deeply, the crops lifting their heads as though they, too, felt the shepherd's care. Not far from there, I saw a weary traveler trudging along a dusty path. The midday sun bore down mercilessly, and the man paused, wiping his brow. The shepherd noticed him, too. With a quiet smile, he coaxed a fluffy white cloud into motion, drifting it over the traveler to provide shade. The man looked up, his face breaking into a smile of gratitude as he walked beneath the welcome coolness. And then there were the rainbows. I hadn't noticed them at first, but as the shepherd moved, they seemed to follow in his wake. A burst of color arched across the sky after the rain clouds had done their work, a gentle reminder that storms, too, had their purpose. The shepherd's movements were unhurried, deliberate. He never rushed, never forced the clouds into action. Instead, he worked with them, understanding their nature and guiding them with care. The clouds, in turn, seemed to respond with a kind of quiet devotion, eager to fulfill their roles in the grand design of the sky. As I watched, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of awe. The shepherd wasn't just tending to clouds, he was tending to the world below. Every gesture, every movement, carried a quiet wisdom, a knowledge that even the smallest acts of care could make a difference. The sky above had always seemed distant, untouchable, but now I saw it for what it truly was, a living, breathing canvas, painted by the hands of the cloud shepherd. And in that moment, I understood the beauty of his work, a beauty that stretched far beyond the sky and into the hearts of those it touched. As the morning light spread across the horizon, I watched the shepherd work his quiet magic, but now, my attention turned to the clouds themselves. They were not merely passive shapes in the sky, I began to realize. Each one seemed to have a life of its own, a personality shaped by its form and movement. And the shepherd, with his careful touch, understood them all as if they spoke a language only he could hear. One cloud, soft and wispy, floated near him, its edges glowing faintly in the sunlight. It seemed hesitant, as though unsure where it belonged. The shepherd paused, tilting his head as if listening. Then, with a small wave of his hand, he guided it toward a forest below. There, the delicate cloud cast a gentle shadow, offering a cool respite to the creatures stirring beneath the canopy. I found myself marveling at his ability to communicate with them. How could he know their purpose, their destination? Was it the way they moved, the shapes they formed? Or was it something deeper, a bond between the shepherd and his flock that defied words? As I pondered, the shepherd turned his attention to another cloud, this one larger and darker, heavy with unspent rain. He placed his palm gently against it, as though reassuring it. For a moment, the cloud seemed to swell, its edges pulsing with energy. Then, with a soft nudge, it floated toward a village nestled in the valley. A light rain began to fall, bringing relief to the thirsty earth and the smiling faces of those below. But it wasn't all work. The shepherd had a playful side, too. I noticed him pause, glancing at a cluster of clouds that had gathered around him. With a mischievous glint in his eye, he stretched out both hands, shaping the clouds into familiar forms, a heart, a bird, even a crescent moon. The sky became his canvas, and for a brief moment, the heavens felt alive with whimsy. He turned to me then, as if sensing my gaze, and pointed toward one of his creations. A cloud in the shape of a soaring kite drifted lazily across the horizon. I couldn't help but smile. It was as if he were reminding me that even in the grand, sweeping beauty of his work, there was room for joy and wonder. The shepherd moved on, guiding his flock with the same gentle care, but now I saw the clouds differently. They weren't just carriers of rain or shade, they were messengers, each one whispering a story to the earth below. Some spoke of renewal, like the rain clouds nourishing the fields. Others brought comfort, like the soft, shaded clouds shielding weary travelers. And some, like the playful shapes in the sky, simply carried joy. As I watched him guide the clouds with precision and care, I felt a deep sense of connection. The language of the clouds wasn't something I could hear, but through the shepherd's touch, I could see its meaning clearly as a quiet, unspoken bond between the heavens and the earth. The sky had grown brighter now, the day in full bloom, but the shepherd's work was far from done. His hands moved with steady purpose, guiding his flock of clouds through the endless expanse above. I noticed how the light played off his movements, casting soft glows that seemed to ripple through the sky. And then, for the first time, I saw it, a rainbow beginning to form. It started as a faint shimmer, a delicate arch of color that seemed to emerge from a cloud touched by the shepherd's hand. At first, it was barely visible, just a whisper of light. But as he worked, nudging the clouds into position and aligning them with the sunlight, the rainbow grew stronger, its hues deepening into a vibrant spectrum that stretched across the sky. The shepherd paused to admire his creation, his face calm yet touched with the faintest hint of a smile. I could feel the purpose behind his actions. The rainbow wasn't just a fleeting display of beauty, it was a gift, meant to inspire joy and hope in those who looked up to see it. Below, the world seemed to respond. A child in a field stopped to point at the sky, their laughter ringing out as they tugged at their mother's sleeve. In a quiet village square, an elderly man tilted his head back, his face softening with a smile as he remembered something from long ago. Travelers paused along a dusty road, their burdens momentarily forgotten as they gazed at the colors arching high above them. The rainbow seemed to weave itself into the lives of everyone who saw it, a silent reminder of something larger, a connection between the heavens and the earth, between fleeting moments and timeless wonder. The shepherd moved on, guiding another set of clouds toward the horizon. But I noticed something different now. He wasn't just arranging the clouds for rain or shade, he was weaving them together. His hands moved with deliberate care, layering the soft whites and grays with the delicate pastels of the setting sun. The sky began to change again, the rainbow blending seamlessly into the warm glow of twilight. The colors of the day gave way to the soft amber and pinks of evening, creating a tapestry so gentle and serene it felt like a lullaby for the earth. I couldn't help but wonder if the shepherd saw something in the people below, if he knew the impact of his work on their lives. Did he see the joy his rainbows brought? Did he sense the comfort his shade provided? Perhaps he did, or perhaps he simply trusted that his quiet labor would ripple outward in ways he might never witness. As I watched him weave the sky into a masterpiece, I felt a deep sense of gratitude, not just for the shepherd, but for the simple beauty of the world he tended so carefully. In his work, I saw not just clouds or colors, but a reflection of the quiet magic that surrounds us all. waiting to be noticed. As the day began its slow descent into evening, the shepherd's movements grew softer, almost meditative. The clouds that had been scattered across the vast expanse of the sky were now drawn closer together, like threads being gathered for a final, intricate tapestry. There was a reverence in the way he worked, as though the act of creating a sunset was the most sacred part of his day. The first signs of twilight appeared, a faint blush of pink at the edges of the horizon, deepening into warm golds and purples. The shepherd moved with purpose, weaving the clouds into layers, blending their hues with the soft light of the setting sun. Each cloud seemed to carry its own shade, its own texture, adding depth to the evolving masterpiece. Some clouds were tinged with fiery orange, glowing as if they held embers of the day's warmth. Others took on the soft lavender of twilight, their edges kissed by the fading sunlight. The shepherd guided them with the lightest touch, shaping them into sweeping arcs and gentle folds, each one a deliberate stroke on the canvas of the sky. As I watched, the clouds began to form what could only be described as a quilt. The colors blended seamlessly, like threads woven together into a pattern that only the shepherd could see. The quilt stretched across the horizon, its edges glowing faintly as the sun dipped lower, casting long, golden rays over the earth. Below, the world seemed to pause. The fields and forests grew still, bathed in the soft light of the sunset. People stopped in their tracks, gazing upward as the sky transformed into something ethereal. A couple on a hillside held hands, their faces illuminated by the warm glow. A child pointed excitedly at the shifting colors, their laughter carried on the evening breeze. The shepherd continued his work, adding the finishing touches to the quilt. He took a wisp of cloud here, a faint streak of color there, blending them into the fabric of the sky. The quilt seemed to ripple with life, its pattern shifting and changing as the light faded. And then, as the last rays of sunlight disappeared beyond the horizon, the shepherd stepped back, his work complete. The quilt glowed softly in the dimming light, a final gift to the world before nightfall. It was a blanket of calm, wrapping the earth in its embrace, inviting everything beneath it to rest. In that moment, I understood the shepherd's purpose more clearly than ever. His work wasn't just about clouds or rainbows or sunsets. It was about creating a sense of peace, of wonder, of connection. The sunset quilt was a reminder that even the simplest moments, a quiet evening, a fading sky, held beauty beyond measure. As I gazed at the masterpiece above, a deep calm settled over me, as though the quilt's softness had reached into my very soul. The shepherd, standing silhouetted against the twilight, turned to look at me, his expression serene. And then he continued on, his quiet work never done. The night sky was complete now, its velvety darkness adorned with countless stars and the gentle glow of the moon. The shepherd stood motionless for a moment, gazing up at his creation as though offering a silent farewell to the day. It was as if he had placed the final stitch in an intricate tapestry, one designed not only for beauty but to soothe the world into slumber. I could feel the stillness deepening around me, a calm that seemed to emanate from the heavens. The breeze carried a faint hum, a melody so soft it felt more like a feeling than a sound. I realized it was coming from the sky itself, the stars and clouds singing in harmony, a lullaby for the world. The shepherd turned, his gaze sweeping across the vast expanse of earth below. There was tenderness in his expression, as though he understood the quiet burdens carried by those who had watched his work. With a slow, deliberate movement, he raised his hands toward the sky. The clouds, scattered across the moonlit canvas, began to drift closer together. Their edges softened, blurring into one another until they formed a single, flowing ribbon that stretched from horizon to horizon. The moonlight danced across the ribbon, its silver glow shimmering like threads of silk. As I watched, the ribbon began to weave itself into patterns, soft spirals, flowing waves, and gentle arcs that seemed to cradle the stars. The shepherd's hands moved in time with the rhythm of the lullaby, guiding the clouds into their final formation. Slowly, they transformed into what could only be described as a quilt for the night, a blanket of mist and moonlight that seemed to embrace the world below. The air grew heavier with peace, as if the very atmosphere had wrapped itself in the shepherd's creation. Beneath the quilt of clouds, the stars twinkled faintly, their light muted but still present, a reminder that even in rest, there is a quiet strength. The moon cast its soft glow over the landscape, illuminating fields, rivers, and forests with a gentle touch. I felt my own thoughts begin to quiet, my breathing slowing as the world settled into stillness. The shepherd lowered his hands and turned to me, his gaze filled with a calm so profound it seemed to reach into my very soul. Without a word, he gestured toward the sky, as if inviting me to take one last look at his work. The night had become a masterpiece of serenity, a testament to the shepherd's quiet dedication. I felt a deep gratitude, not just for the beauty I had witnessed, but for the sense of connection it brought, a reminder that even in the vastness of the sky, there is care, intention, and purpose. The shepherd turned to leave, his form blending into the shadows as the lullaby faded to a gentle hum. As I lay back, gazing at the quilted sky, a sense of peace washed over me. The last thought I held was a quiet hope that this calm would follow me into my dreams. Rest well, the breeze seemed to whisper. May your dreams be as serene as the sky above. Chapter 8: A Lullaby for the World. The night sky was complete now, its velvety darkness adorned with countless stars and the gentle glow of the moon. The shepherd stood motionless for a moment, gazing up at his creation as though offering a silent farewell to the day. It was as if he had placed the final stitch in an intricate tapestry, one designed not only for beauty but to soothe the world into slumber. I could feel the stillness deepening around me, a calm that seemed to emanate from the heavens. The breeze carried a faint hum, a melody so soft it felt more like a feeling than a sound. I realized it was coming from the sky itself, the stars and clouds singing in harmony, a lullaby for the world. The shepherd turned, his gaze sweeping across the vast expanse of earth below. There was tenderness in his expression, as though he understood the quiet burdens carried by those who had watched his work. With a slow, deliberate movement, he raised his hands toward the sky. The clouds, scattered across the moonlit canvas, began to drift closer together. Their edges softened, blurring into one another until they formed a single, flowing ribbon that stretched from horizon to horizon. The moonlight danced across the ribbon, its silver glow shimmering like threads of silk. As I watched, the ribbon began to weave itself into patterns, soft spirals, flowing waves, and gentle arcs that seemed to cradle the stars. The shepherd's hands moved in time with the rhythm of the lullaby, guiding the clouds into their final formation. Slowly, they transformed into what could only be described as a quilt for the night, a blanket of mist and moonlight that seemed to embrace the world below. The air grew heavier with peace, as if the very atmosphere had wrapped itself in the shepherd's creation. Beneath the quilt of clouds, the stars twinkled faintly, their light muted but still present, a reminder that even in rest, there is a quiet strength. The moon cast its soft glow over the landscape, illuminating fields, rivers, and forests with a gentle touch. I felt my own thoughts begin to quiet, my breathing slowing as the world settled into stillness. The shepherd lowered his hands and turned to me, his gaze filled with a calm so profound it seemed to reach into my very soul. Without a word, he gestured toward the sky, as if inviting me to take one last look at his work. The night had become a masterpiece of serenity, a testament to the shepherd's quiet dedication. I felt a deep gratitude, not just for the beauty I had witnessed, but for the sense of connection it brought, a reminder that even in the vastness of the sky, there is care, intention, and purpose. The shepherd turned to leave, his form blending into the shadows as the lullaby faded to a gentle hum. As I lay back, gazing at the quilted sky, a sense of peace washed over me. The last thought I held was a quiet hope that this calm would follow me into my dreams. Rest well, the breeze seemed to whisper. May your dreams be as serene as the sky above. Thank you for listening. If this story helped you relax, please like the video and subscribe for more. Sweet dreams.